Jen's actually said this at the Manchester coaching masterclass last year, but he said that there are a lot of people in the industry who've been coaching for 10 years, but they don't have 10 years experience. They have 1 year repeated 10 times over. And I thought it was fantastic then, and I still think it's fantastic now, and I would never want that to be me. My name is Holly Jackson. I am a one-to-one coach. I work with clients both in person and online. So I became a coach after dropping out of university. After my first year, I was working as a lifeguard. I went back to my part-time job at a large commercial gym chain. I had retired from sport a year before, and in that time had been getting into lifting and fitness. And during that time I had started posting a bit of fitness content online, mainly just to track my own journey, but I realised that I really enjoyed helping people with it, like when people would ask me questions, when my friends would ask for my help. Since stepping into that space, I became increasingly aware of the huge amount of misinformation out there when it comes to fitness. So I decided to qualify as a PT so that I could start coaching people properly and kind of help fight the good fight with regards to just battling that misinformation that's out there. I think continuous education is so important as a coach. I feel like the whole "if you're not moving forwards, you're falling back" quote is often used in like a very like business bro sense, but the fitness industry moves so fast, and there are so many trends, and if you aren't really sure in your education and really sure in yourself, like knowing who you are and what matters to you and what you want to put out there as a coach, I think it's really easy for you to get swallowed up in that, which I think is doing a disservice to yourself as a coach and to your clients. So the more you learn, the more you grow, and the better you understand yourself and your values as a coach. I think one of the things that made the biggest difference for me with the PFCA stuff, both the online side of things and the in-person events that I've attended, is that they really encourage you to get involved in a way that I might normally shy away from. Like, I'm the sort of person who's quite happy to just kind of blend into the background and not really get involved. And I think that has always come from like a fear of being wrong, and they don't really allow you that in the PFCA, but in like a super kind, encouraging way. So to use the FFC calls as an example, I remember being asked we all had to type our answers into the text box and then like hit send at the same time. And at the time, the concept of that was mortifying to me. Like, I was so worried about, oh my God, what if I say something stupid? Like, what if I get it wrong? And it was just a really judgment-free space to learn. And as a result, I have got so much more from their courses because I've kind of been forced to participate a little bit more. I think it's encouraged me to ask better questions, and as a result, I have learned so much more from that than if I had just been allowed to sit quietly at the back and not get involved. So that's why I enjoy them so much, and that carries over to both the online side of things and the in-person events that I've attended. I would feel like if I wasn't an expert on something, that I couldn't really offer advice, couldn't really answer the question, and I would doubt myself and my knowledge a lot. So I think that as long as I'm only coaching what I know and what I believe to be true, and I'm continually putting the effort in to further my education around all things fitness, then I'm okay and I'm doing the best job possible for my clients. So yeah, it really helps just give me a little bit of confidence boost and doubt myself a little bit less, which has carried over to my coaching, I think, for sure. The consultation process has always been one of my favourite parts of coaching. Like, I love that deep dive, but I am a bit of an overthinker and I do have a tendency to ramble. So I think sometimes I would have good intentions, but then I would get a little bit lost along the way. So something like the 4E's, for example, like having a framework to be able to follow to keep me on track has been super helpful for just streamlining that process. And I think as a result, my consultations are just way better structured. And I think both myself and my clients leave that with a much clearer idea of where we're heading. And because I'm not stressing about what I've asked and what I've not, it means that I'm able to enjoy what is one of my favourite parts of the job a lot more as well. So I think having a better consultation process means that my clients are much more bought into the process from the beginning. They know exactly where we're heading, why it's so important to them and how it fits with who they are and what they want out of the coaching process, but also just what they want for themselves in life in general. So having that structure and being able to ask better questions means that they get so much more from working with me because they're super clear on where they're heading. The biggest thing that stood out to me from the FFC course, I loved the section on like movement patterns, and I felt like that was something I wish I had had after I had done my level 3, because it was mostly information that I had had to learn on my own as I went. And I think when you want to make sure that the information you're consuming is good information, because it is such a minefield in the fitness industry, having it in a course format is really helpful to be able to work through, whereas previously a lot of my learning had just kind of been bits and bobs that I'd found along the way, whereas I much prefer like a course structure to be able to work through. And yeah, the whole section on patterns and how to progress those and how to adjust them on a client-to-client basis rather than forcing the same exercises down every client's neck just because it's what you were told to do on your level 3 course. Yeah, it was just really reassuring to see that in the FFC course, and would have saved me a lot of time if I had had that straight off the back of my level 3 many years ago. I would recommend FFC to anyone who has just finished their level 3. I think if you've done your level 3 with the PFCA, you have a great start anyway, but for many people with other providers, that's not always the case, and FFC is like that missing link that's just gonna give you the confidence to go out and gain that experience without constantly feeling like you don't quite have the knowledge you need to be confident in what you're doing. Like I said, it took me years to gain even half of that knowledge on my own, and having it all set out in a course, and also having that element of collaboration with other coaches. Like the weekly calls were so good to be able to bounce ideas off each other, and it's just nice to feel like you're in the right room for once with a load of coaches who are like-minded and all striving for the same thing. So yeah, I couldn't recommend it enough.